Hi book friends, this is Kat and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so today is hopefully going to be a short video because it is my August wrap up video, and if you have seen previously in my vlog, and I know that was a pretty long one, so if you made it to the end, thanks. I really tried to edit it down. It was like over 2 hours and there was no way I was going to do that. So I'm actually very happy I got it down to like an hour and 3 minutes, though the goal was under an hour, but that's okay. So in that video, I talk about 7 books, and I'll briefly mention through some of them. And then the books that I haven't talked about, I'll talk more in depth now, but I'm going to briefly mention my statistics and the order of the ratings, and then kind of spend some time on some of these books that I did roll for. And hopefully that all makes sense. Also, I flipped my chair over, so it's still the same room, but I flipped it over, and this is how I'm going to do my wrap-ups. So let's get started with August's wrap-up. I have my ratings here, and I had unfortunately 8 DNFs this month, and that's probably the most DNFs I've had in a single month. So we're going to talk briefly about those. I also had 2 3.5 stars, 2 4 stars, and 4 5 stars. So it was a total of 16 books I've read this month, which I think is a lot, but 8 of those were DNFs, so about half were DNFs. So let's go ahead and go over the DNFs briefly. Some of them I had to turn into the library, so I'll just pop a picture up here and mention if they were part of a readathon, and then send you to that video if you want to know more information. But one of them was Black Dove, White Raven. Not interested in it anymore, and it's in my vlog. The Boy at the Back of the Class, I also have it in that vlog. The adults were horrible. Becoming Mrs. Lewis is in my book of the year review, and I went thorough through that. The other book is I actually have, but I will unhaul, and that is Bathsheba, Reluctant Beauty, and I just didn't like the way the story was going. That is in the Retold-a-thon, so you can see that video. The other DNF was the 3rd book in this series, which is Delilah, Treacherous Beauty. That is also in the Retold-a-thon video. The Loveliest Chocolate Shop in Paris. This one is in the Back to School vlog. And last one that's in a vlog is Big Lies in a Small Town. That one is in that same vlog. So those were the DNFs, and one other DNF that I had that I will talk about is The Great Gatsby. That one was my last DNF for the month, and this book is set in the 1920s, so during the jazz era. It was also after, like, World War I, so it's very party-like, and you follow this narrator, and the narrator, he talks about this guy named Mr. Gatsby, who is a wealthy billionaire or millionaire, I don't know, but he's very wealthy, and he's this new and coming into money person, and people are very curious about him. He's very mysterious. I didn't get far into this book. It was a little harder to read for me. It is a classic, and I had to get back into that writing style. So the character, from my understanding, is he has his cousin named Daisy, and Daisy, she is married to this man who is very abusive towards her, and he's also he was just not a good person, even would cheat on her, and it tells you very early on in the book. So I didn't really enjoy that. I decided to DNF it early on, though, because there were some parts of the story that was just very descriptive, kind of sexualized, I feel. And it just wasn't a story that I was wanting to read, and I decided that I was just gonna put it down. There was a character in there that um, basically was unfaithful to her husband, and in a way her husband knew, but he was afraid of her. I didn't like that character. Anyway, that's all I know about the story. It's probably, more to the story, and maybe I've missed something and I probably didn't explain it well. Like I said, I don't really know what the story plot was, except like there was this guy who just came into good money, but how the story was being told, it was a lot of backstory with the narrator and him meeting these different people and going to visit his cousin Daisy and finding out about her marriage, and there's that. Okay, so now let's move into my 3.5 stars. 3.5 stars. One of them was Till We Have Faces. And this is the C.S. Lewis book, and that is also in my Retold-a-thon reading wrap up. The next book I actually have, and that is 365 Days of Wonder, and this is in that vlog. Into my 4 stars, I had Crenshaw. That's also in the back to school vlog. And my next 4 stars is Just 18 Summers by Renee Gutteridge and Michelle Cox. And this was part of my TBR game. Okay, so let's talk about this book. Now, I love this book. I thought it was very humorous in some parts. It is a cute book, but it's also pretty sad because you do follow these 4 families, and these 4 families are all connected in different ways, and they have different seasons of life that's going on. So early on, you do see that there's a single dad who just recently lost his wife, and he has a daughter that he is raising on his own. And so that's how the book starts out. And there's this other family whose daughter is currently in college. They're about to send another kid off, and their youngest is kind of like that middle grade age, and so they're like going through some life changes within their household and almost becoming like empty nesters. And then you have this other family, a well-to-do family. They have come to a big change that's happening financially, and it looks positive, but then seeing like, okay, how does this affect, them and their kids and how they're spending time with their kids. And then you have the last family who are new parents, and it's all that new parents are going to go through, like how we're going to take care of the kid and everything like that. So cute book, sad in that there are some hard topics in here. There is talk about miscarriage, there's grief in here, loss of a parent. So, just letting you know about those things, but it was also very, in my opinion, uplifting too, and I enjoyed reading about it. There were some unrealistic things in here where I felt like it was a little over the top, but it was still a great read. It was still an emotional read, and I would highly recommend it. And I love the cover. It's a very nostalgic feeling. So, all right, now into my 5 stars. And first 5 stars I'm going to go through are the readathon ones, and one of them is this one that I did read for the Retold-a-thon. It was also part of my game, and this is The Merchant's Daughter. Loved it. Melanie Dickerson is becoming a favorite author for me. The other book was The Maid of Ballymaccool, and this was also in the Retold-a-thon. And that one was amazing. I already put more of Jennifer Dibel's books on my TBR. I'm excited to get into her other books. And then the last book that I had that was part of a different video is Avatar: The Last Airbender. And this one was in that reading vlog that I told you about, the back to school reading vlog. And I enjoyed this cute little comic book, and we'll pick up part 2 of this comic. And then the last one was part of my game, and it was The Secret of Pembroke Park. This book was just surprisingly really good. And I say surprisingly because I haven't had any of Julie Klassen's books on my TBR. I've never heard of this book talked about. I've heard of Julie Klassen before, but I haven't heard about this book. And this was a pleasant surprise. It is loosely based off of Mansfield Park, and I think because I previously read Mansfield's Park earlier this year, it was a little fresh, and so I was looking forward to this retelling. First off, this book starts off with a young woman. She ends up going and helping her dad move into Pembroke Park because they lost their money through a bad investment. And when she gets to Pembroke Park, there are a lot of secrets that they're confronted with about the place. They don't know if it's haunted. They hear about this treasure, but nobody who worked there previously is saying anything. And you meet the cranky groundskeeper who just wants to make sure no one goes snooping around, and he's very like protective of the estate and the Pembroke name, and so it's just very mysterious. The romance in there was really good in my opinion. It's kind of a love triangle in a way, but I don't want to give a lot away. It was super good. I did like the mystery, and I was like, plot twist at the end. So I would highly recommend it. It has good faith content. It has you at the edge of your seat. Now, there are 2 things about the book that I was contemplating if I was going to bump down the rating a little bit, but I figured no, I really enjoyed it, so it's going to stay at a 5. And these are just minor details, but one, if they're Christian fiction, I don't like scenes in my romances that talk a lot about how a person looks physically, especially when we talk about a young man and the female character is describing how his physique looks muscle-wise without a shirt. That's just a preference for me. I don't mind books talking about how physically attractive a person is, but when it starts to get into like details about looking at the muscles of a person's body and stuff like that, specifically shirtless scenes for me, I'm just like, something I do skim over. I know a lot of people that doesn't really like bother them, but for me it is, in my Christian books, something that it annoys me just a little bit, but if it's not like super prevalent and constantly talked about, like, I'm fine. I'll just skim through it, and it's no big deal. I do wish that this book was at least 100 pages shorter than what it was. It is a longer book. I didn't think it needed to be that long. There were some things that I felt like could have been shortened, but other than that, super great book. I would highly recommend it, and I'm looking forward to more of Julie Klassen's books. And that's all I have to say for that. So yeah, these were all my reads. And for my husband's, I don't have his cards. So what I can remember though is that he did have a mood read somewhere in there, and the other one was I think it was a mystery or thriller, and the book that he did pick was Artemis Fowl. He started reading it, was interested, but then he decided to DNF it. like he picked the book because he's heard so much about it, but when he started to read it, he decided this book was just not for him. So he just DNF'd the book, and that was fine. Other than that, I don't remember any of the other books that he did read, but usually I write it down, and this time I didn't. And I want to say the other one that he did was controversial read. See, I don't even remember. So unfortunately, I'm sorry for that if that was something you were looking forward to. It just slipped my mind. Very busy month. So anyway, there is another video that's going to be coming out shortly after this one is uploaded, and that video is going to essentially be like my journey through Middle Earth, and I won't have a wrap up at the end of September. That is because I'm going to go through the journey through Middle Earth, and I just feel like it gets redundant having the wrap up at the end if I'm just going to do this series. So that is the plan, and I'm actually going to try to do Middle Earth through the month of September. I know I said I would give myself 2 months, but very recently we had Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytail coming out with her journey through the Bible readathon, which I am going to do. I'm super excited about that one. And the next one was from another readathon that's hosted by Amanda at Book Lover Amanda and a lot of co-hosts. I know Reese is also a co-host from the Writing Songbird, and they're doing a Lord of the Rings bingo board for October, and of course I want to do that one. So I don't want to overwhelm myself, especially since October is my birthday month. So I don't know how much time I will have to read in October. So a lot of things are happening, and with that being said, I'm going to try to get through Middle Earth through September. You know, I just need to be strategic in picking the other ones as I go along. So anyway, I hope this was a short video. My intention was to just run through a lot of these books. But yeah, as always, if you are interested in my Goodreads, I will have those ratings. If there are some books that you think, now that you know a little bit more of my taste, that maybe that I wouldn't quite enjoy, or just that I'm aware of, if I'm aware of certain scenes in a book, I would know, like, okay, just to skim through. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found some good reads or some authors that you may enjoy, and I will see you guys in another one. Bye.